We might be done with the heavy snow for this week, but cold weather is coming. Lows will dip close to the single digits, and I'll have a complete Skywatch forecast coming up.
Also, tonight, there's new legal matter developing in the case of a former Illinois sheriff's deputy convicted of second-degree murder.
Also, we'll hear more from Darren Bailey on his political future and life following the tragic death of his son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren. This is Newswatch, and your Tuesday's edition starts now.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
Some really cold weather is about to arrive here in central Illinois. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Williamson.
And I'm Rashad Jones. If you venture outside, wear multiple layers, and here with more on the temperatures is Emily Davis. Good evening, Emily.
Good evening. Those temperatures are going to drop down as we move further into this work week, but we saw a cold day today as well. High temperatures just in the mid-20s across the area. A high temperature of 25 degrees here in Charleston. The highest we saw across the area only got up to 28 degrees down in Robinson, and that's only going to drop even further as we move overnight tonight. A low temperatures tonight in the teens with a low temperature of 18 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Those southerly winds will not be helping us out any overnight tonight, blowing out of the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. That low temperature still in the teens overnight tonight, but we're going to see a little bit of a warm up as we move into tomorrow. A high temperature of 34 degrees, just slightly above freezing, but as we move throughout the daytime, we're going to be seeing mostly cloudy skies, and then once that temperature dips back below freezing, there'll be another chance for some snow flurries. That's the first look at your Skywatch forecast. Now back to the desk.
All right, thanks, Emily. In other news, a Sangamon County Sheriff's deputy convicted of murdering a woman is asking for a new trial. In October, a jury convicted Sean Grayson of second-degree murder for shooting and killing Sonia Massey while responding to a report of a prowler outside her home. The shooting was caught on body-worn camera. Grayson said he fired on Massey over her handling of a pot of boiling water. Court records show on Friday, Grayson's attorney filed a motion for a new trial. The case is due back in court January 29th. The man accused of setting fire to a Champaign church pleads not guilty. 33-year-old Dalton Whitlock is accused of starting a fire at Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church November 19th. Police say Whitlock caused thousands of dollars in damage. We have no injuries to report, but police say the exact circumstances surrounding the fire are currently being investigated. Court records show Whitlock is due back in court tomorrow morning.
It's the season of giving, but the Illinois Attorney General says do your homework before donating. Kwame Raoul says under Illinois law, fundraisers and charitable organizations are required to register with his office. Raoul says before giving, research the charity, be cautious when giving online, don't send cash or send peer-to-peer payments with apps like Venmo, and request written information about the donation. 2 people are hospitalized following an apartment building fire in Denville. First responders say the fire happened Sunday at the Churchill Towers apartment building on Seminary Street. After arriving on scene, firefighters reported heavy smoke coming from the 4th and 5th floors. Fire officials say multiple residents were seen at windows unable to exit the building because of the smoke. They say 32 people were removed from the building. The state fire marshal is currently investigating, and the cause of the fire hasn't been determined.
Illinois gubernatorial candidate Darren Bailey is opening up about the helicopter crash that killed his son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren. Bailey took some time off the campaign trail, but says he has a renewed passion for life and motivation for change.
Well, it's tough, and it has been life-changing.
Darren Bailey campaigning for governor with a heavy heart these days. 6 weeks ago, a tragic helicopter crash in Montana took the lives of his son Zach, daughter-in-law Kelsey, and 2 grandchildren, 12-year-old Veda Rose and 7-year-old Samuel. 10-year-old Finn, in the middle, was not on board.
I've never lost anyone close to me, especially anyone even unexpectedly like this. So my compassion for people has also kind of been heightened.
The tragedy drawing his downstate Illinois family closer despite the void at Thanksgiving. Bailey and his wife Cindy are now raising their grandson Finn with the help of other family members who he says support his second campaign for governor. Bailey lost by more than 12 points to incumbent J.B. Pritzker in 2022. This time he says he's learned some lessons.
Probably one of the big things that we learned is targeting the low propensity voter and informing them and making things available to help them understand whether to vote early. Do we need to come and pick you up?
Bailey remains a staunch supporter of President Donald Trump despite harsh Democratic criticism of the president's policies, including the aggressive immigration enforcement campaign in Chicago and the suburbs.
I think that if J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, if they would have addressed this years ago, if they would choose to work with President Trump, I don't know that we would have seen these issues.
Bailey says he's sorry if anyone thinks he's trying to use this tragedy to help his campaign. He says he wants to make Illinois a better place for his 11 grandchildren, and 12th one on the way. Bailey is one of 7 candidates currently running for the Republican nomination, with the primary next March. The TSA has announced a new option for travelers trying to fly without a real ID. Passengers can now alternatively pay $45 to use in a verification system called TSA Confirm ID. The alternative ID is good for just 10 days, but would serve as temporary identification for those who don't have a real ID. Other authorized forms of identification include a DHS Trusted Traveler Card or a passport. The Real ID law was signed in 2005, but was not implemented and enforced until last May.
If you're looking for a seasonal job, it may be hard to come by this year. A recent survey by the National Retail Federation found stores are expected to hire fewer workers this holiday season, up to 40% less. That's not just bad news for employees seeking extra cash. It also means holiday shoppers won't have as much help in stores. Retailers say economic uncertainty is a reason for the hiring crunch. Retail experts say overall staffing levels have also changed this year. Less full-time employees are quitting their jobs, which means there's less need for seasonal workers. There's been a significant need for snowplow drivers recently.
But it looks like the snow is over this week. Emily?
We have one more chance of snow as we move into tomorrow, but it will be a slight chance of snow as we move into the evening. But we'll also be seeing temperatures begin to drop down significantly as we move into the weekend. I'll have the full Skywatch forecast coming up.
It's the season of joy and happiness, but if you're grieving a loss, the holidays may also bring sorrow and pain. Clinical psychologist Adam Borland with Cleveland Clinic says it's important to recognize that this time of year can be difficult, whether it's your first holiday without a loved one or you've grieved through multiple ones. It's okay to feel sad this time of year. Experts say understanding that feelings of sadness may be heightened this time of year can be reassuring, so express those feelings to someone you trust and be flexible with holiday traditions. Family members may need to manage expectations regarding those rituals. You can also start new ones, honoring the lost loved one. Focus on coping skills that have helped you in the past and recognize that you can hold more than one feeling at a time. Finally, intentionally care for yourself. Experts say it can be helpful to make a checklist of healthy habits. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
We saw snowfall on Saturday, but we saw even more snowfall on Monday. We saw around 4 inches of snowfall in Paris, just around 3 inches in Rantoul. But moving further south into our central portions of our viewing area, we saw around 2.5 inches of snowfall in Tuscola, around 1.6 inches of snow here in Charleston, and just around 1.5 inches down in Robinson. So more snow began to fall as we moved throughout our Monday, but we did get the day off from snow today. But looking across at our temperatures today, we saw temperatures significantly cooler across the entire Midwest. Temperatures around 19 degrees in Chicago, 26 in St. Louis, and the entire country is kind of feeling these temperatures begin to drop down as we move throughout today, but currently we're seeing temperatures in the 20s, temperatures around 21 degrees now here in Charleston, and mostly cloudy skies covering most of our viewing area. But as we looked at our highs today, we didn't get much warmer than that, with a high temperature of just 25 degrees here in Charleston. The highest we saw across the area was a high of 28 degrees down in Robinson and over in Terre Haute. And as we look across here in the background at Eastern's campus, this photo was taken earlier today. We saw that snow continue to fall and affect the travel as we move throughout the daytime today, although most of those roads have been plowed now here in Charleston. But moving overnight tonight, we're going to be seeing temperatures drop down to a low temperature of 18 degrees, with those mostly cloudy skies staying consistent as we move overnight tonight. And then eventually, as we look at our futurecast, we're going to be seeing those mostly cloudy skies stay with us as we move into the morning hours tomorrow. And then those mostly cloudy skies will stay with us again as we move throughout the daytime tomorrow. A high temperature tomorrow, though, of 34 degrees, getting above freezing for your daytime high tomorrow, but it will dip below freezing as that sun begins to set in the evening, and that will cause a chance for some snow flurries as we move throughout our Wednesday evening and overnight Wednesday night. Looking at our futurecast, we're seeing mostly cloudy skies for the majority of our daytime on Wednesday, but here is that chance of snow flurries that will move through quite quickly as we move into the evening and overnight hours of our Wednesday, but this will push off to the east before we make it to the morning hours on Thursday, so it will not affect your morning commute on Thursday. But temperatures are going to drop significantly as we move to Thursday. A high temperature of just 20 degrees on Thursday, and that low temperature is going to get down into the single digits as we move overnight Thursday night, but will eventually warm up as we finish off the work week with a high temperature of just below freezing, of a high temperature of 31 degrees on Friday under partly cloudy skies, and then right around freezing as we start our weekend, a high temperature of 32 degrees under mostly cloudy skies on your Saturday. And after we see that warm up back up into the 30s, we're going to be seeing consistently cold temperatures in the 30s. And the reason for this is because our jet stream here is going to be in a zonal pattern, which will cause for consistent temperatures. But in this case, these consistent temperatures in the zonal pattern will cause our temperatures to be consistently cold and in the low 30s. And that zonal pattern will continue as we finish off this work week and start our weekend. But as we look forward, we're going to be seeing temperatures drop off as we move into our Thursday into the 20s before warming back up again into the 30s, but staying consistent in the low 30s as we start and finish our weekend. Now, we're going to be below average for the next 6 to 10 days. That average for this time of year is typically in the 40s. And as we look forward to our 7-day, we're definitely going to be below that. A high temperature in the 30s tomorrow, but then we're going to dip down on Thursday. Here's that low temperature of just 9 degrees for your Thursday night. And as we move into our weekend, we're going to be seeing a chance for snow on Sunday, but that snow will push off, and eventually we'll see temperatures cool off on Monday before warming up above freezing for your Tuesday with a high of 37 degrees.
Oh, Emily, it looks like I need to go out there and get some practice with the snow out there.
It's going to be cold. That's what I'm hearing. Thanks, Emily. And still to come, the Director of Homeland Security is calling for a full travel ban on countries that she says are flooding the U.S. with criminal activity.
But first, criminal activity is the reason the National Guard is being sent to a popular U.S. tourist destination. That story is coming up. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
Tired of the same old playlist? Let Hitmix 88.9 WEIU be your source for your favorite throwbacks and today's biggest hits. No skips needed. From deep dives on local topics, a lively morning show, and EIU Panther sports, we've got your back 24/7. And we're not just hitting play, we're building futures. because behind every mic is a student making moves. It's your music, your station, Hitmix 88.9 WEIU.
In tonight's National Watch, the National Guard will deploy to Louisiana this month. That's according to Louisiana Republican Governor Jeff Landry. Landry says in 2 weeks, a specific amount of Guardsmen will deploy in New Orleans and other cities to combat crime. The governor says the Guard members would be deployed in New Orleans through Mardi Gras. It's not the first time Guardsmen will be active in the state. Last week, Louisiana National Guard members were deployed to help with security for the WEIU Classic, an annual festival over the Thanksgiving weekend. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is calling for a full travel ban on certain countries. Noem posted her comments on social media after meeting with President Donald Trump yesterday. Currently, travelers from 19 countries face full or partial restrictions into the U.S. Noem is reportedly recommending that at least 30 countries be on that list. It's unclear which countries could be added, but Noem's remarks came just days after investigators identified an Afghan national as the suspect in the shooting of 2 National Guard members in Washington, D.C. last week. The suspect entered the United States in 2021. And speaking of travel, the Transportation Security Administration sets another record for daily screenings the Sunday after Thanksgiving. On November 30th, more than 3.1 million passengers were screened by the TSA. It marked the busiest travel day in the agency's history, up 37,000 from the previous record set in June. Well, sports is coming up, and here with the headlines is Rashad Jones.
Wins aren't a given, but the Fine Illini women's basketball team has a pretty good shot at another one tonight. And wins haven't come easy for the Chicago Bulls, who are looking to end a 3-game skid against the Magic. Thanks for watching. Your WEIU Sports Watch report is coming up next.
It's the season of giving, but for wannabe thieves, December is the season of opportunity as packages pile up outside people's doors. That's why experts say it's important to take extra security steps so Grinches don't grab your gifts. Richard Rocha with Amazon says the vast majority of their packages arrive without issue. But to help raise awareness about package safety, Amazon is partnering with the National Sheriff's Association this year. Last year, at least 58 million packages were stolen, and roughly 25% of Americans have been a victim. It's a crime that causes billions of dollars in financial losses a year, and these types of crimes tend to go up during the holidays. So what can you do to protect your packages? If you're not going to be home, FedEx and UPS allow you to deliver your packages to a different address. Out of town, the U.S. Postal Service will hold your mail for up to 30 days. Amazon allows users to use lockers for up to 3 days. You can also leave instructions with your Amazon delivery driver, like request to have packages delivered behind your home. So what should you do if your packages are stolen? Rocha says call Amazon customer service. And security experts say most retailers will send you a new item, but they are getting stricter. You should also file a police report. And while security cameras can help catch the thieves in the act, law enforcement recommends not engaging with the thief. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
We begin tonight with some developing news in football. 4-star tight end recruit J.C. Anderson has flipped his commitment from Ole Miss to LSU. Anderson confirmed the move earlier today on social media. He currently attends Mount Zion High School and is the 7th-ranked recruit in Illinois. Anderson committed to Ole Miss in July, but will now join newly hired head coach Lane Kiffin in Baton Rouge. A one-loss Fine Illini women's basketball team is matching up against a squad they've never played before. The Orange and Blue face off shortly against Bellarmine University for the first time in program history. Illinois enters this game sitting at 6-1 on the season, coming off a 100-28 blowout win over Lemoyne in their last contest. In that game, forward Ciara Parchment matched the program's single game record, recording 10 steals and 17 points. The game is set to tip off shortly, and we'll have the full recap on tomorrow's edition. Indiana State men's basketball is back in action tonight as they host Division III program Eureka. The Sycamores are coming off consecutive losses to Louisiana Tech and Alcorn State and now sit at 4-4 on the young season. As for the Red Devils, they sit at 2-6 on their campaign, but did win their last outing against Blackburn, who was scheduled to play EIU yesterday until Mother Nature had other plans. This game tips off in about 10 minutes in the Holman Center. The Chicago Bulls need a little magic to end a 3-game losing streak. We're in Orlando for this one. Starting in the first, Desmond Bain gets right to the basket and hits this and-one layup to take the lead despite the contact. But this game is back and forth. Now in the third, Josh Giddey finds himself open for an easy three, and the Bulls have the biggest lead of the game so far. But Bain decided to take over, down by 5. He has the ball in the fast break as he pulls up for 3 with no one near him, and the crowd is hyped up after that shot. The threes keep pouring for Bain as he uses the screen and makes another one, and he looks like he can't miss. Now in the fourth, it's Bain again who finally misses a 3, but the Magic get the rebound, and who does it go back to? The best shooter of the night, as Bain gets another one to fall, and the Magic win 125-120. To Indiana, where the Pacers host a struggling Cleveland Cavaliers team, so they don't show it here as Donovan Mitchell hits this nasty step-back 3 right in front of his defender. Here's Mitchell again. 2 defenders, no problem, as he hits this side-step jumper, and the Cavs are up big on it to halftime. Late in the game, the Pacers need some points, and they go to Andrew Nembhard, who drains this deep 3 to cut the lead. But Mitchell was ready to put this game away, and he does just that, driving to the basket, hitting this layup with contact. Mitchell goes on to score 43 points as the Cavs win easy, 135-119. This has been a season filled with the blues for St. Louis, and next up for the struggling squad, the Anaheim Ducks. Early on, the Blues are looking to get the puck down the ice, but Mason McTavish snatches it from Cam Fowler and scores a goal for the Ducks. But just 20 seconds later, St. Louis responds as Jordan Kyrou slithers through the defense for a goal of his own. However, that will be the last high note on the night for the Blues, as the Ducks score not 1, not 2, but 3 unanswered goals to coast to an easy victory. Anaheim takes down St. Louis 4-1. The Blues have won just 9 of their first 27 games. Finally tonight, Indianapolis head coach Shane Steichen will not place Sauce Gardner on injured reserve and expects the cornerback to return this season. Gardner suffered a calf injury in the first quarter of the Colts' loss to Houston Texans on Sunday. And he is now tied with Jacksonville Jaguars for first place in the AFC South, and those two teams duke it out this Sunday in Jacksonville. That's all for sport. Matt, back to you.
All right, thanks, Rashad. Well, coming up, Emily Davis returns to recap a frigid forecast for Charleston, Effingham, Arcola, and all the area next. But first, people are planning a trip to Minnesota to see an awe-inspiring, must-see winter phenomenon. Tonight's parting story is next. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
Hi, I'm Everett Lau, an Eastern Illinois University graduate from the class of 2021. As an Edgar County farm kid, I grew up with a childhood dream of becoming a broadcast meteorologist. I spent a lot of time in the WEIU studio during my 4 years in college, and that's how I got to this studio, WTHI-TV in Terre Haute, Indiana. WEIU prepared me for long nights of tracking thunderstorms, fine-tuning details of approaching winter storms, and how to be a broadcaster in general, whether it was weather, news, or even sports. I needed WEIU to achieve my dream, and now WEIU needs me and you to help carry out its mission of setting up students for success. Please consider making a financial gift to support WEIU so the station and its dedicated staff can continue operating this outstanding training ground for aspiring broadcasters, journalists, and scientists. Your gift can allow local students like me provide local programming for our local communities. Learn more at weiu.net or by calling the station. Thanks for watching.
Now finally tonight, there's at least one community in the U.S. calling for more snow and ice. The winter weather is definitely helping artists create these massive ice castles in St. Paul, Minnesota. The winter attraction features ice slides, tunnels, caverns, and up to 10,000 icicles. The ice castles will be on display at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds in January. Besides what was naturally provided this week, organizers have been hard at work growing and harvesting ice ahead of the event. Well, definitely no snow in July, but no lack of snow and ice in central Illinois. Back with the final check of the Skywatch forecast is Emily Davis.
There's plenty of snow and ice out there as we look across central Illinois, and we're going to be seeing some more as we move into the weekend and possibly tomorrow. A high temperature of 34 degrees tomorrow, above freezing, but as we move overnight and that sun sets, we're going to be seeing temperatures drop below freezing, and the possibility of some snow flurries will enter the forecast as we move into Wednesday evening and eventually overnight. But as we move forward, we're going to be seeing temperatures drop down significantly with a high temperature of just 20 degrees on Thursday and getting down into the single digits for that low Thursday night, before warming up again, but staying consistent in the low 30s as we move into the weekend and throughout the weekend before another chance of snow will enter the forecast on Sunday. That snow will move out and then temperatures will drop back down on Monday with a high of 27, but there will be a chance for some of this snow to melt on Tuesday with a high temperature getting up into a high of 37 degrees. That's a final look at your Skywatch forecast. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Emily. That's all the time we have for tonight's edition of Newswatch.
BBC News is coming up next on WEIU. We'll be back at 10 for another look at Newswatch. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street. The Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.